What's up, chickadees? I am back on tour. My solo is stopped for now because the Impractical Jokers are back on our national tour. Huge theater arena tour. It's going on right this second. All tickets are on sale. 40 or 50 cities are on sale. We're adding more. Just go to impracticaljokerslive.com for all the cities to take a look. Coming up off the top right now, we have Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Camden, New Jersey at the Freedom Mortgage Pavilion. That's a big one. Down in Jersey, about Philly. Love to see you guys. 2 at the Wang in Boston. Then we're going to Charleston and Charlotte and Waterloo, New York, and then Washington, D.C. And the big weekend I want to talk about is Niagara Falls into Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey, then right up to Wallington, Connecticut, and coming back down to play the UBS Arena in Long Island. Those are all on sale right now, plus more, ImpracticalJokersLive.com. And Impractical Jokers Season 10 is airing right now on True TV and TBS Thursday nights at 10 o'clock.
Folks, Joe DeRosa here from the Tastebuds podcast. I got live performances and shows and all kinds of things happening all over the place. Let me start with a very special appearance I'll be making here in New York City on February 8th at New York City Winery. My buddy Cooge is doing an evening with Cooge and friends. I'll be there with Cooge and some other folks. A little bit of a roundtable discussion about food and whatnot. Lots of laughs. What have you. A little bit of a different show, but it's going to be fun. Also here in New York City, I'm doing my residency of my new one-man show, I Never Promised You a Rose Garden. Next one of those is February 14th, The Night for Lovers at the Crane Theater. After that, we got one in March on the 22nd, again, at the Crane Theater. So if you're in New York, come on by for that. And if you're not in New York, I'm hitting the big open road. February 18th, Vancouver, British Columbia for JFL's festival. Baton Rouge on March 9th, March 10th, Lafayette. March 11th, New Orleans. March 30th, Hamtramck, Michigan. March 31st, Grand Rapids, Michigan. April 1st, Chicago, Illinois. And more dates are being added as we speak. All of the dates I just mentioned on the road will be me performing the I Never Promised You a Rose Garden show. You can go to joederosainfo.com for tickets and info. Also, don't forget about Joey Rose's. Open 7 days a week at 11:30 a.m. every day. Sandwiches and booze. Flowing and chewing all day long. JoeyRosesNYC.com.
Taste buds, they coming to the mic, talking about the food they hate, talking about the food they like. Two fools gonna fight, but only one food can be right. Taste buds, man, yeah, they coming to the mic. I'm talking.
Hey, folks, welcome to
TASTE
Buds. We're here with our special guest, Paul Virzi. And right before we started rolling, we this would have been a great battle. Staten Island versus Long Island. You said you'd take Staten Island, but I got to tell you, the only 3 people I know on Staten Island are Q, this Mama Luke, and the pig DeStefano. So right off the bat, we're not off to a great start.
Wait, but DeStefano's not from Staten
No,
Island.
but he lives there now and he loves it and calls himself a...
He chose to go there.
He chose to go. Is he claiming it? Is he like claiming?
He loves it.
Okay.
Well, it's good to
Two of my
have him.
dearest
I know.
friends. Two of my dearest friends.
yeah,
You and
yeah.
Peter from there. Everybody I've met from Staten Island has been great. I have family in Long Island, so if anybody hears this, they're gonna be like, what the you know.
Look, they're somewhat similar, I'll tell you that much.
But there's something about Long Island, dude, that like they're just in this
Well, it's
club
massive
of if
compared
you're
to Staten
against it. They will, like you said, they'll mob against you. If one thing, right? You could go on stage and say one thing. Oh, no, it's just like.
But they also will. Like, I was just out at Governor's. I had great shows. But when I would say that I was from Philly, they'd boo. But then I would shit on them for booing. And then they would laugh at me shitting on them. So it's a fair play. Staten Island, I don't know. I'd never done it. I did a comedy show once in Staten Island.
Okay.
And it was the comedy show where I met Pete Davidson. He was 15 years old. And he
I
told
wonder if it was mine.
He told me he looked up to me. Thanks for remembering, Pete. Anyway, you put me in one of these fucking shows or movies. No, but that was my first. I met Pete at the Looney Bin.
Oh, the Looney Bin. I don't think
and
that's
the shows weren't bad, but that was the only time I ever did a.
that was
show
like Staten Island has had 2 comedy clubs since I've been alive. I think one was called Grandpa's Comedy Club. It was owned by
Grandpa's
from the Munsters.
Yes.
So
wait,
Grandpa from the Munsters named it that.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Al Lewis owned it.
Al Lewis,
Yeah.
his face was on the awning, bro. Pretty cool. I saw Dice Clay there.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Grandpa's Comedy
Yeah,
Club.
man. That's been shut for, I want to say, 20 years. And then the Looney Bin was at a bowling alley, and I never performed there, but it was open for a bit. But I don't know, was it a real comedy club, or was it like a comedy space?
Well, look, man, there was caution tape on the back wall of the stage just to let everybody know that there was some loony stuff going on in this place.
got it.
So who knows?
Okay.
You know what I mean? But I would say, yeah, it was probably a comedy club if that's. If
Dude,
that's
I remember
what they did.
I remember my first manager, Tony Camacho. Right, I'm sure you've heard of Tony. Right?
I know Tony
And,
well.
and I'm like a couple of years in. This is, I might have said this on another podcast. This is fucking so true, hilarious. I get there. Tony goes, I got your gig. It's at a restaurant in Staten Island. They're gonna give you 150. And he goes, but it's a Friday, so you're working. So I'm like, all right, you know. So I go there, dude, and it's like an open floor. It almost looked like it was like a diner.
For sure. Do you remember the name of the place?
And I don't remember the name of the place. And I got there first and early because it's the weekend and I know my drive is going to be long. And the owner comes up and the owner just goes, look, guy, I didn't want to do this. First thing he says, he goes, if it was me, I would have got local kids to bring their friends and fill the place. But I talked to your manager. He said he's going to send a couple of pros. And that's the first thing he says. Then he goes, another thing, dude. I swear to God, he goes, there's no mic. He goes, but. No. I swear to God. He goes like this. He goes, but 3 blocks down is a Radio Shack. I'm not paying for it. But if you want to go get it and pick, we could set it up. I'm not paying for it. I didn't want to do this. I wanted to get locals.
Amazing.
So now I'm going, I would rather not do it. These 2 other comedians come in. And they were like, I need to do the work. I need the work. We're going to do it. I'm standing in the middle of a restaurant. I never forget, there was a father and son eating chicken parm. And they were looking up at a TV video of a game on.
Yeah.
And I go, you guys gonna turn? And he goes, no, just go and do it, dude. And I remember standing there, and I'm doing
the TV's
a joke
rough.
about my grandmother. I'm like, yeah, so my grandmother wants me to, and they're just like looking around me at the TV. It was an absolute fucking nightmare.
I did so many of those types of gigs. We all did starting out, and like it was always amazing to me. It's like the attitude of that guy.
Yes,
because that was always the attitude of the guy at the place that was like that. Where it's like, I didn't want to do this. It's like, well, then why'd you do it?
Right.
This wasn't my manager's idea to have a show here.
Right.
You were looking to have a show, and now you're acting like I'm some kind of burden. You know what I mean? Like the amount of shows I did in bars on Monday nights where they wouldn't turn the TVs off. It's like, why are you doing this? Just don't have the show.
Right.
Like, what is the point?
It's like, are you being defiant to like prove that it's not conducive so you can go back and say, see, I told you? It's like, yeah, why don't you make it the best for everybody there?
Oh, my
That's
God.
what it should be.
Two of my biggest bombs ever had TVs involved, actually.
Sure.
There's a place in L.A., Joe, maybe you know it. It's called the Something Lodge. It's a very hip bar in a hip town.
Oh, Bigfoot Lodge.
Bigfoot Lodge? Is that
Bigfoot
it?
Lodge.
Yeah.
They used to do comedy shows in the back. I lived a block from it.
Okay, yes.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, I might have done it way back in the day when you had your show.
It very well could have
So
been.
I did this show at the Bigfoot
Josh
Lodge.
Androsky, was it his show?
I
The kid
don't
with
remember.
the glasses?
Yeah, I don't remember. So I did the show at the Bigfoot Lodge. We go in the back. The place is has 20 people in it total. It's a big place.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say 15 of them are at the front bar. And there's either TVs on or the rated music, whatever.
Yeah.
You're in the back. 4 people came and sat in the back. You're on a makeshift little corner with a mic.
Yeah.
I start talking to the 4 people. I mean, you can't even. And there's a couple of comics in the back. I think Ramon Rivas was with me, and everything's just bombing. And you're hearing conversations from the bar. You're hearing the television and conversations from the bar.
Yeah.
Dude, that was that was years and years ago. But I remember people someone came to see me there. You know when someone from the, that is like, oh, we're coming to the show.
And you're like,
and it's
no.
I'm like, wait, the show don't come to the show
Yeah.
where I'm doing a 12-minute spot on Wednesday.
Right.
And they come anyway, and it's
Yeah.
like, I can't bend my set to you. I got to try this new shit. And they come and they see you, and then it's like, I can't even talk to you. I got to run. The next time they see you, it was like not a good show, and they're like, You did good. You did nice.
No, I tell people now. They're like, hey, you're going to be. And I'm like, look, I'm working on new jokes, and I'm going to be up there for 12, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm going to be headlining
Right.
Gotham in a couple months.
Right,
Come to that.
This Bigfoot Lodge, right? So everyone's over there talking. They don't stop talking. You hear them just as loud as my mic. There's 3 comics in the back left. There's 2 people here and 2 people like 4 feet in front of me only. And before I start, the lady in front of me goes, "We're in town on vacation. We're from wherever the fuck she said. Like, you know, she's like, we're from." It was somewhere far away.
Right.
And she's like, and we saw that you were here. We thought we'd make a night of it. Right before I go on, and she's 2 of the 4 people there. I bombed so bad. I bombed so bad that afterwards I went up to the bar to get like a water, and I was like trying to hide myself. Because even the people that are at the bar, they hear me too, but they're still talking.
Yeah.
No one's laughing. I was like, that's the one where you start to sweat.
Yeah.
You know, had that flop sweat. And then I was at the bar, and they went to go talk to me, and I went, oh, you know what? I just got to take this. I faked the call, went out, got in an Uber, and didn't come back in. I was like, I can't walk back in there. I bombed so hard, I can't even face the other comics.
The escape of bomb, the escape after a bomb
Yeah.
is one of the where you just close the car door and you just like, wow. All right,
I faked the call, and I was like, I had that feeling in the pit of my stomach, like, oh, I was so embarrassed.
As the car speeds away, you feel like you're leaving the feeling. The further away you get from it.
I got hired to do a house party in Seattle City for a family reunion. They hired me. I was like 2 years in.
Dude, that just gave me anxiety. You saying that,
Dude, I was in the living room.
Yep.
They were all sitting in the living room. They set it up too like a show. They set up like rows of chairs. They cleared out the furniture and everything. It's rich fucks down in Seattle City, and I was doing well actually. I was doing well. I had this hot chick that I met at Hooters. Waitress was with me. It was like our first date. Like I was like king shit.
Wait, your first date with the fucking Hooters waitress was a
She
living
met me
room?
in Seattle City at
Wow.
yeah, and I felt like the fucking man. And I'm
You bombed in front of her.
I'm
You
doing-
brought her to
hold
the
on.
family reunion?
I'm on stage
You were
at
better off
this
doing
thing.
a show at Hooters.
Yeah. Well, because they paid me. Yeah, I know. They paid me like. They actually paid me like. It was like $300 or something. Like
Yeah.
first year or two, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I'm doing a private.
Right,
You know, that's what I
yeah,
thought.
yeah.
I'm on stage. I'm in the. I'm by the bay windows. And I was doing well. Honestly, it was going well. Like they were into it and stuff. And I'm doing crowd work and stuff. And I had a bit at the time about why I didn't want to have kids. And I said to this, and I set it up in there by talking to one of the guys that was just this older guy that was sitting in the front. I go, "You got kids, buddy?" He goes, "Yeah." And I go, I don't want to have kids. I'm afraid. What if I have a kid and I don't like it, right? And that was the setup for the joke. This fucking kid who was like 20, 21 jumps up out of the back of the room and he goes, "You mother, that's my father, you fucking sucker."
What?
I swear to God, dude.
What was he upset about?
And all you said was, I don't know
It
if
was
I want
his
to have kids.
because I was talking to his father, and I said, "I'm afraid. What if I had a kid and I didn't like it?" This kid took it personally. Who was his son?
So they had
Jumped
an
up.
issue. Yeah.
They escorted the kid out.
Wow.
They go, "We're really sorry. He's always a problem at these things."
At the family reunions?
At events.
And the thing he's mad about has to do with family. It's so
At
funny.
events, they said he's always gets drunk and he's a problem. The
Oh
dad apologized to me, and then I bombed for the remaining 30 minutes of my set, and then I had to. There's no longer walk, dude, than walking from the front of somebody's living room through the family that you just bombed in front of. And then they walked me into the kitchen, and then they were like, "We're so sorry. We're so sorry. Can we get you something?"
Dude, how great would it have been if when the kid stood up right after you said, "I don't know if it's going to go well," the kid started yelling, you're like, "See? That's why."
Dude, I was so
I
like,
don't want you.
My point exactly.
it's so fun. Yeah, like it's like now if that happened now, you'd be like, you'd have fun with it. You'd make fun of it.
Right,
You'd
yeah,
they'd drag the kid out. You'd make jokes
Well, dude,
about
it's also
that.
shocking for
but
you.
at the time, a
Right.
year or two in, you're
you're
like,
frozen.
what the fuck is going on, man?
Yeah, do you you remember being like new, and you're going, if somebody yells out and starts heckling and screaming, it's over.
It's over.
Like if someone goes, "Hey, fuck you," like now you could be like, "What'd you say?" Wait, no, and then just go because we're
welcome it,
no,
yeah.
we're experienced.
Did you used to?
You're welcome.
I used to be so nervous that I was going to
Somebody's gonna yell something.
I used to get. I swear to God, I used to get nerves. If I was killing, I'd get nerves because I'd be like, well, I can only fuck this up.
Oh, you would start
that's a
worrying
terrible
about the come
headspace.
down.
Yeah.
You'd start worrying about the.
Yeah, I go. I can only fuck this up.
That makes so much
I want
sense
this
for you.
to end right now.
Yes.
That makes so much sense. The only person who can walk off stage at the 59th minute still be worried. That could all go very wrong.
I don't feel
He
that way.
gets the lottery and he's like, "Yeah, people are gonna ask.
Yeah.
Now. I don't know what to. Things are gonna go bad."
I haven't felt that way in a very, very, very long time. But there was a period where I did feel like that on stage, and I swear to God, I told my therapist that at the time, and she goes, "I don't even know what to say."
She's like, it's not in the books I studied. I don't know.
You know who's an amazing example of when things are going good on stage, they don't like it, was DePaulo. Dude, I would see Nick DePaulo at the stand, the first stand, when he would come down, and he would start killing, and things were going good, and it was almost like he's like, nah. Now it's I literally watched him like I was like, oh, this is not going to get awkward. Like this is, and he couldn't. He would just look for something. He would look for something, and it was just
Nick
some
used
guys
to kill me. I saw him go. Him and Patrice, saw go at people in the audience in ways that I've never seen, and it would make me laugh so fucking hard. It would just the vehement venom. It was just like, oh my God, man!
Yeah.
It made me laugh so fucking hard. I saw DePaulo say to a guy once at the stand. He goes. Yeah, because you think you're hot shit, don't you? Yeah, well, I can kick your fucking ass because I do coke.
Dude, I saw him one time just look and go, why do I come to this shitty city? Dude, he went from like killing to just looked around and like said something that I think, he did a DePaulo joke. By the way, Nick was one of the only people that I saw that everybody in the room just goes, oh no, like that, and then the next thing, get an ovation. He was one of the few that could do it. But then he would just go, why do I come to this shitty city, and would lay into the city, and then it would get quiet after a good set, and he liked it. He was unreal, dude. Oh, so funny.
Anyway.
I love telling bomb stories. I never get old for me.
But we were talking about this the other day. Some comics like when they watch somebody bomb. I don't. And I was actually I'm talking about when you see somebody up there. I'm not talking about a guy that that's what we were talking about. When it's a guy that is funny and he's working stuff out and it doesn't work, that's kind of funny.
Right.
Like that's like, oh, you're like my buddy's up there. He's trying to
Sure.
But when I see somebody straight up like there's nothing, and they're like trying. I want to walk. I don't like seeing the full on, like a real somebody's dreams getting fucking like. I'll watch it for a second, and then I'm like, I can't.
It makes me happy.
One of the things we do a lot at my house.
You can watch. You'll sit through the whole thing.
We at my house. We'll have people over my house, and we'll just be drinking, and we literally are scouring the internet for bombs. And we just watch it like we're watching a fucking HBO show.
Oh my God.
It's my favorite, dude. Watching it go sideways, I fucking love it, dude.
I know when it ends up with like someone I saw one guy. Did you see that bomb? It was like at a restaurant where the old guy's giving guys shit. And it's like a mic, and the old guy's like a regular for like 20 years, and he's cursing at the guy, and the guy even knows his name. He's like, Philip. He's like, don't do it again, Philip. And he goes, shut the fuck up, Philip. I'm trying to do my show. And then whatever the guy's name is, and then Philip charges him. He goes, don't charge me.
Oh,
don't charge me, Philip. And then he kicks him right in the fucking shirt.
Yes.
The guy goes down on the floor. He goes, I told him not to charge me.
And then everybody in the crowd's going, oh, why'd you do that? They looked like they were in a bowling alley.
Yes.
I remember seeing that going like, why would you do stand up there?
Oh my God, dude! When it ends up like that too, like a guy, the comic's kicking an old man in the chest.
My two favorite types of comedy to watch, and it's often with you.
Yeah.
Somebody the dream crushing bomb, like you just talked about, like where it's everything is going wrong. You're getting douche chills. I mean, it's just my favorite. And then rivaled only by somebody crushing with absolute horseshit, where it makes me see red, where I see red because it makes me so mad. But they're my favorite types of comedy to watch. Both of those things fuel me in a way. Like,
but you like to watch the comedy that gets you enraged?
But what'd you say?
You like to watch the comedy that gets you enraged?
It gets me going. But then something good will come along, like Nick Kroll's latest special, and I'll watch.
Oh, I didn't see it.
I watch 10 minutes of it, and I go, "This is really good." All right, and then I turn it off.
Then you go back. Yeah, you like clean your palate with a decent thing.
As much. I go, this is very good. Good stuff, Nick. All right.
That's great.
Anyway, let's get back to the who's bombing. It's just more fun to watch, man.
Yeah.
Like I had a NYU hired us for a gig one time. We went and it was for the students, and it was during the 2003. The Yankees were in the playoffs, right? Versus Philly or something like that. Sorry, the playoff, the World Series.
No, that was 2009.
2009.
They beat the Philly, and then 2009.
No, what's the one before that? Oh, they were in the, anyway. Maybe it was playoffs, and it was also finals, or whatever. There was some type of big test. I don't know what, and the place was like in the basement of the dorms, and it was like basically like almost like a cafeteria, and it was, in the old New York buildings, you can't control the heat.
Right.
In the winter, the heat's on.
Yeah.
And so the heat was
the
on.
worst.
It was like 110 degrees. And the doors, like it was like a railroad. So it like there was where you came in the next room, and then you saw the next room, and you saw the next room. So like the room could have held 200 people easy. Maybe 15 came. They were all spread out, and they all brought their textbooks, and so they were watching while they were like doing their homework.
Oh, God.
And in the next room, the fucking Yankee playoffs were on.
Oh no!
This was when I was. I mean, this was like probably the year, I'll say, maybe 2003, 2002, something like that. And I remember I'm sweating already just from the heat. Nothing's landing. They're looking down in their books, right? And then I literally heard fucking Joe Buck go, ground ball to Jeter. You just heard it in the room. You heard the fucking play-by-play thing. And I started sweating so much. And I remember nothing. It was almost like the beaches in Normandy. The only thing I remember was that one time I did an impression of a chicken. Because I don't know why I did it. I was like, I don't know why I did it. But I was like, that's how bad it was that I ended up clucking. I literally was listening to the playoff game.
Oh God!
Yeah, it was bad, man. And then I apologized. They paid me $550, and afterwards we were like, "Hey," I was like, "Listen, I'm really sorry. Our shows are not normally like this." And then we had a big fight with us because we left, and my buddy's like, "Don't ever apologize for a show." I'm like, "That was an apology."
Oh my God, that's amazing, man.
That's so great.
Yeah,
That's
man.
amazing.
Hey guys, instead of saying I've been Sal Vulcano, guys, I'm sorry about this, man.
Hey guys, maybe next time, huh?
Guys, I don't know what happened either.
Hey, let's go Yanks, huh?
Oh, dude.
Shit, that's brutal, man.
There wasn't a fucking laugh. Not even a pity laugh.
Oh, I wish I could have seen it. I look, because that's the best. That's better than the other two things I already mentioned. The best is seeing your friend who you know is funny bomb.
No, that's
Watching a friend go out on his ass.
It's so
my God.
funny.
I would.
It's funny in the material.
Keith Robinson's the best. Like Keith, because Keith will be like, "You fucking stunk." I saw you bomb last night. They hated you. And then if he bombs, he'll be like, "God damn it, I deserved every bit of it. They handed me my chops."
I'm gonna close my eyes. Do Keith Robinson talking to Bobby Kelly? Go ahead.
no. I'll be Florentine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No. Ask me as Keith if I saw the Super Bowl halftime show.
Hey, stupid. Did you see the Super Bowl halftime show?
Yeah, nobody wants to hear Madonna at halftime.
Holy
It's a fucking joke.
That's uncanny.
Yeah, it's fucking brutal. Nobody cares. I don't want to see fucking Like a Virgin. Give me a break.
Folks, let's talk about Vessi, one of our great sponsors. Vessi, they were kind enough to send me some shoes, and I finally got to try these things out. And I got to tell you, they are fantastic all-weather shoes. Now, in New York, what does that mean? Where I live, it means they're good for the winter. They're good for the rain in particular. And I like that this company, Virzi, is doing this. The first time I put these shoes on, I immediately noticed how comfortable they were, how easy they were to get on and off, which I know might sound like a sort of trivial point, but it's not. I'm telling you. When you have all-weather shoes, we'll call them, and you, a lot of the time, like, for instance, my other shoes that I wear out in the snow or rain are boots. It's a process. They're heavy boots. You got to get your foot in. They lace all the way up. It's a lot. The fact that Virzi has made, and also too, they're not the most comfortable thing. They're not terrible, but they're not the most comfortable. The fact that Virzi made basically a shoe that is all the features of a rubber boot, but it's built into a sneaker that's super comfortable, 100% waterproof, not water resistant, waterproof. And you can slip these things on and off very easily. I mean, I think it's awesome. They're warm, but they're light. They're much lighter than boots, that's for certain. They have a lugged rubber outsole that gives you extra grip in wet conditions, which, again, I really like because some of the boots I have actually get slippery when it's wet outside, which is not fun. Yes, I have fallen. Enjoy that visual. Anyway, these things are made from Dymatex, which is a super soft knit material that keeps your feet warm in the cold, but it also can keep them cool in the warmer months. So you can wear these year round. And it doesn't feel like it should be waterproof, but it is. It's comfortable, it's durable, it's breathable. How comfortable? Again, sneaker comfortable with a boots protection. It's really great. Virzi are my go-to shoes by the door. Go check them out for yourself. Here's the link, virzi.com/tastebuds. And you're going to go buy your own pair of Virzi shoes there. Again, check them out. Virzi, that's VESSI.com/tastebuds. And go buy yourself a pair of these. Again, it's Virzi, VESSI.com/tastebuds. You're going to get 15% off a pair. Go and do it now. Composting is an interesting process. It's a useful process. It's helpful not just to you, but to the environment. And there are many reasons that composting is helpful. And I got to tell you, if you are compact on space, composting is a tough thing to do. And it's been a tough thing for me to do. It's been an impossible thing for me to do because I live in New York City. I don't have a composting bin.
For me, I do want to do more things that are better for the environment. I feel guilty. I don't use plastic bottles, but like I'm looking for something else to do. I have that eco guilt kind of thing.
Lomi is here to help.
Yeah.
Lomi is a countertop composting product. You take your compostable materials, you put them into the thing, and it quietly, over a short period of time, meaning under 4 hours, turns that stuff into dirt, into usable soil. It's great.
Wow, that's wild. With the push of a button, it turns it from that into dirt.
That's it. And I got to tell you, too, if you want to look at this from a selfish standpoint, it's saving you garbage bags, it's saving you garbage can space, and it's saving you trips. The fudging trips. Yo, dude, my garbage in my house is like a standard size garbage. It fills up in a regular day like 2-3 times. If I have company, I'm running to throw the garbage out 3, 4, 5 times. Yeah.
This does it in under 4 hours. There's no smell, and it's quiet when it does it.
Yeah. And, believe it or not, as somebody that lives in New York, and I'm complaining about space and not having a yard and all this stuff, I can actually find uses for some soil. I can grow herbs, okay? I have a little terrace that I can grow some things on. I've had an aero garden in the past. The soil is more useful. Even if you end up just throwing the soil away, who cares? It doesn't smell, and it's still better for everybody.
The garbage isn't going to landfills. It's not producing methane. You turn waste into nutrient-rich dirt that you could use for your plants.
It's just better, and that's it. It's just better, right? So head to lomi.com. That's LOMI.com/tastebuds. Use the promo code tastebuds. You're going to get $50 off your Lomi. That's a lot off. That's great. LOMI.com/tastebuds. Use the promo code tastebuds for $50 off today. Food waste is gross. Let Lomi save you a cold trip out to the garbage can.
One last thing I will say, it's fun to use because they sent them to us, and it is actually fun to put all the scraps in there, and then fun to see it turn into the. So it's actually cool. Lomi.com/tastebuds.
And yeah, Florentine was just that. I told Patrick, I was like, hey man, book me like if is Florentine going, because he booked me for like, you'll do like 4 in a night, 3 in a night at the stand. You got to eat dinner. Right. And I saw Florentine on the list, and I go, thanks for it. So Florentine watches, and any kind of edgy thing, yeah, that was great.
Yeah. See, no disrespect to SNL, by the way.
Yeah,
I wasn't shitting on
it. Kind of sucks.
Did it sound like I was shitting?
No, not at all. I didn't even think that. No.
Oh well, Virzi was a little straight faced. Looked like he was worried. He might have a writing packet on the table over there.
Yeah. No, I was saying you were like that. I was saying that the crowd must have really bothered you for that to be your answer.
It got me.
Yeah.
The first show was great, and the second show they were laughing, but they weren't. I get the thing that gets me with an audience is I don't like when they're not connecting, when they're not tuned in, and I said to them. I did a joke, and I was like, and they were being weirdly quiet. And I go, you know what I mean? And one person went, no. And I was just like, this isn't like, I'm like, this isn't, it wasn't heavy concept shit. It was like, you're just not seeing whatever you thought this was going to be.
Yes.
And it's annoying me now. And I showed my own ass by getting aggravated about it. But then a lot of times for me, that turns into like, it ends up like kind of working, I guess, because I get frustrated and then I end up trying to make that funny, and then that works, and then whatever. So like, that's what
I got to go out.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I have to go out in a different way, unfortunately, because people know me, or they think they do, and they know my personality, and I'm very nice.
Yeah.
So if something happens like that and I go at them like that, everyone's like, oh, like they won't laugh at it. They're almost like, oh, wow, he's mad, or oh, he's being a dick.
No, people like when I do that.
But that's your
right. Well, this weekend in Long Island, there were tons of taste buds. Shout outs, by the way. Thank you to everybody that came out to Levittown, and thank you to everybody that came out to the Vulcan in Austin. What a great 2 weekends of shows. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
But
I'm going to Austin and Long Island. PracticalJokersLive.com. UBS. We need you guys there. Go ahead.
You guys.
But the second show in Levittown on Saturday.
You guys plug now, or?
Sometimes
we plug whatever we want. The second show in Long Island in Levittown, there were a couple people. There was a lady in the front row that was just having a full conversation.
Oh, yeah. So
and she was like an older woman, whatever. And she wasn't trying to be rude, but she was just talking to her friend. Something I said, where they were like, oh, that's like, and they started talking. And then eventually I go, have a full fucking conversation. And like, you could see that I like legit was annoyed.
Yeah.
And I go, Jesus fucking Christ, can anybody leave the fucking house anymore? And I started kind of side ranting about that. And they were cheering and shit because I was like, because you're like you're saying, they're like, oh, he's gonna do the thing where he gets all upset.
People talking. I had to go at it like with kindness and make it like I have to like be like crafty about it. Like Big J's always like, don't ever go at him. Like go at him with like go at him. Don't make it contentious. Right. He's like that's his big advice. Like because he's does a lot of crowd work.
Yeah.
But I have to be. I'll try to turn it on them with not from me. I'll be like, everyone in here hears you, not just me.
Right.
And everyone in here paid to be here for a show. Now, you could do whatever you want. I think you seem great.
Right.
But everybody in here right now hates your fucking guts. And everyone starts cheering.
Right.
And I'm like,
is that how you really like what you how
No, I hate it.
What you're really more angry than that.
I hate it.
You hate it, but because see that's
I hate the drunk that thinks they're helping too. Not just a side conversation, but the one that's like, yes, because yes, me too. So it's like
we just had that. I had that at the stand, and she was doing it to everybody. And then finally, I just addressed. I go, I know you keep saying that. We all. That's why we. And then the boyfriend just went like this.
I do have a question for Sal. Do you ever have a fantasy of going just full Bob Saget one night?
Meaning
what do you mean?
Meaning
falling and hitting your head and dying? Listen, folks. No, come on. I'm teasing.
I know.
Stop.
I liked it. I've enjoyed it.
Is it too much?
Meaning you're seen clean, but you get to go full filth.
Yeah, when I first started, I had more stuff like that, and I just as I went on, I'm like, because sometimes I'll just write the joke that comes to mind. and then it's not really like in the voice that I would do it, and I'll do it for a while. It'll get less and stuff, but then I'm like, I don't really want to do that material. So then I would just like kind of retire.
I will tell you this, dude.
Right.
The same way, not to put too fine a point on anything, but the same way in which you have to find this weird balance between.
I don't do sex stuff.
Like,
I don't gratuitously curse if I.
But the same.
What?
I'd love to watch you guys switch sets for a night.
Oh, that's so funny.
Dude, that'd be a funny
do that.
show
Funny.
if
I
like
would do
comics
that. That's
just
funny
changed
experiment.
I
personalities.
would really do that.
We should do a produced show
Oh my god.
where we get comics and
to
they
just
do,
comics, just like you get 4 comics and everybody
Yes.
switches the
I
personality.
think that might be a show somebody does already, where you have to do the other person's. But I don't know.
Okay.
But I would do it.
Yeah.
I would do it.
Some-
But real quick though. The way you have to find the balance with yourself, where you said you hate it, but then you say it in a certain way. I'm doing the same thing, even though it seems like, oh, but you get to be you because you're like you're an outbursty guy and whatever. I trust me, it's the same thing, because there was a part of me, and there still is a part of me that goes, I'll burn this whole fucking show down right now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm so mad, I'll ruin it.
Yeah.
And I had to learn how to not do that. I had to learn how to be like, no, dude, if you do this much anger, it's funny, and you're still getting it out of your system and moving on and handling it.
Sure.
If you do this much now the person, because the lady that I got mad about at Governor's, she stopped talking and listened and had a great time.
Immediately, right.
Yeah, and like, because I learned that there was a way that I could be angry where it was still weirdly funny but friendly.
yes.
Did the club do anything for that with that lady or no? Did they like at least?
I nipped that one in the bud quickly, but
Okay.
there were 2 other people on Friday that they ejected with
Okay.
with haste,
I
which
did
was nice.
the Palm Beach West Palm Improv
Yeah.
last year at some point, and you know the room, right? Deep.
Yeah.
And the tables are right, the small stage
Yeah.
tables are right there. Front right, some white blonde girl with another girl. They were 2 at the table. There was 2 behind them. They weren't together. She's talking, she's drinking. She's swaying in her chair and everything.
it's the
I
worst.
go to her, I address it, make a whole bunch of jokes, get some laughs, move away. She doesn't stop. I go back to her. She doesn't stop. And now I'm like saying like, all right, I've made jokes. I've been playful with her. I made them laugh at the situation. I kind of did my job. She's still going. I'm like waiting for the club to say something. And I don't want to be the guy at my shows to be like, listen, one more and you're out, or take her out. I don't want to really do that. I hope for the club would do that, right? So she keeps going. Next thing I know, I'm telling a joke. I turn around. She's on stage. She's literally on the stage. And I look at her and I go, this is insane. That club, by the way. Okay, how about this? Before I went on stage, a woman just came into the green room and with her camera on video and walked in and just started videoing me and said, say hello to my aunt, my cousin, my son. I was like, do you work for the club? And she's like, no. She was drunk. I'm like, you have to get out of here. This is the green room. Like, this isn't right. It was during COVID. It was not.
And the club isn't watching the green room or anything?
No, the guy who was at the door stepped away and apologized, but she just walked right in. Then later, she was heckling me. I'm like, are you the fucking woman that came in
By
the
the way,
green room?
why is the audience able to even see the green room? Like, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, the green room at the West Palm, because the
There's a
green room
door
at
on
the it's literally as they're
steps.
filing
Yeah.
into the showroom, it's right there. So if the door's not closed, they all
No, but
see
they
it.
were all
This
seated.
fucking-
They were all
This
seated.
this fucking job is so low. I mean, it's just. I have a joke in my act where I make fun of real estate agents, and I go, real estate, that is the last stop before porn on the career train, right? And I go, it goes real estate, porn, stand-up comedy. This is the fucking lowest. For that reason, for
Yeah.
shit like that, where it's just like,
well, how we're treated.
somebody gets on stage, the green room's not protected, the green room's in plain sight. It's unfucking believable to me, man.
Yeah.
Look, you're clearly the
green
most
room's a
famous
fucking
guy in the
janitor's
room.
closet.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But take that off the table. But I'm saying take your. I'm not saying to you like Sal.
No, I know what you mean.
But like, take that off the table, just as professional. It's like,
Yes.
it's not okay if you're just some regular guy who does comedy and you offend somebody.
Yeah.
They should not be able to figure out how to get to you right after the show.
She's on the stage. I turn around. This was before the show.
Oh, but I know, but
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I'm saying.
So
yeah,
I turn around. She's on the stage, and I'm like, this is insane. So I say a couple things. I'm like, security, like they come and they walk and they stand right at the bottom of the stage, and they're watching her, watching me, and I'm just looking at them. So I'm like, you have to go back down the steps now. So she goes back down the steps. She's standing. There's a brick wall right there. She's standing there, and she's still talking. And I'm trying to do my set, and then all of a sudden, she quieted. They talked to her. She quieted down, and all of a sudden, she lost her balance and went back, tripped, hit the brick wall. Okay, knocked over a bucket that had beers on it on the table. Okay, everyone's like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "All right." They don't eject her. They put her back in her seat. Okay, they put her back in her seat.
Waitress comes over. Can we get you something, miss?
Dude. 5 minutes later, I'm doing the set still, and I look over, and this is her in her seat in the front row, her foot touching the stage. She's like this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's the worst.
Literally passed out, mouth open for the rest of the show. They didn't even tell her to leave. They didn't take her out.
That's great. That's great. That's so funny. That's so funny. A guy came up to me at the meet and greet on Saturday, and he goes, "Dude, DeRosa, I don't know if you remember me. I've been to your bar. I got engaged to my girl at I forget what he said, the engagement, but it doesn't matter. He was a very nice kid." But I was like, yeah. I go, "Did you come out with your girl?" And he goes, "Yeah, she's passed out in the car." And I go, "She is?" And he goes, "Yeah, she started fading toward the end." I was like, God bless her. I didn't even notice. He goes, "Yeah, I brought her outside." She was like, "Go in and say hi." Like, go do the. I was like, that's a class act, actually. It got bad.
Yeah.
Quiet leak. Let's get you outside. And then I'm going to go back and do the meet and greet.
Well, that's what happened at the stand where this woman was doing that overly agreeing.
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, I saw this show." Yes. And she kept doing it. So finally she gets shut down, and the guy's going, "Oh," and like his head is in his hands, but it's like, dude, like what that guy did is what you're supposed to do. Where it's like, look, we paid money. Like, either let's get you out of here. You know, the guy's always going, "Sorry, dude, I'm sorry." But then lets her do shots and drinks. And it's like, don't say sorry. Get her the fuck out of here.
A guy on Friday night at Governor's was drunk and talking. I don't even think he was mad. I don't even think he was talking about me or to me. He was just talking.
Yeah.
Like, he was just fucking cocked, this kid. He's 50 years old.
Yeah.
You know? And James, the owner came over and was like, talked to him and was like, "Look, dude, come on." And James told me this after the fact, because they did eject him, and it was a thing, dude. And then these other two guys that were drunk started, when the guy was getting ejected, started saying to the asshole guy, like, "Get the fuck out. You can't handle your fucking liquor, man."
Oh.
And now the crowd is getting mad at both of them. The guy that's defending me, the guy that's getting. I'm like, guys, let's all just fucking, And
I love those fans though. The defending fans.
It was awesome. Yeah. It was awesome.
That's the best.
I had one guy.
But
go ahead.
Oh, we're real quick though.
Yeah.
This is what James told me. This is where people are at mentally. He goes, "Joe," I tell the guy, I go, "You got to shut the fuck up, man. There's a show going on, right?" And he goes, so he stops talking. He goes, the guy starts humming. Because he's like, "I can't talk, so I'm going to sit here and hum."
Oh, yeah. So that's just a dick.
This is like what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
We are scum.
Long Island. Hey,
it's my birthday.
Long Island.
Well,
It's my birthday.
Long Island.
Yeah. Oh, her birthday's here. It's like nobody. Yeah, nobody cares.
It happened in Long Island, but I bet you he's from Staten. I think it was the meeting of two minds.
They drove over.
It was the culmination of the two islands.
We got people.
Folks, let's talk about Noom. Noom's been a longtime sponsor of the show, and I'm happy they are. I actually was in the airport the other day, and I saw the Noom book at the airport bookstore, and I was like excited. I was like, man, I've known about Noom for a long time, and
that's right.
And I know they just put this book out, and look at this, man. That's pretty cool that they're in the airport now, bookstore, But,
so, not name dropping, but this is true. This week we wrapped on season 10 of Jokers, and the last guest of this season was Joey Fatone, who hosts our other show and everything he was on. And I hadn't seen him in some time. I swear to God. And I was like, "Dude, you lost weight." He's like, "I've been using Noom." I'm not joking. I wouldn't put that out there on his behalf if he wasn't. So it's out there, and people are using it that I know. And it's actually working. Now, we've known about it for a while because it's not a fad diet. It's nothing like that.
No, it changes your eating habits.
It changes your eating habits. It changes the relationship you have with food, how you think about food, how you consume food.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's a lifestyle change. It's not a diet.
I think it's great. I love that they're tying psychology to eating. And what's going on up here to what's going on in here and why you're putting stuff in here.
It's psychology to help you understand your eating habits.
It's awesome. it's like a weight loss coach in your pocket. You know, it's something that's there to help you get, you know, the check-ins and the quizzes and all this stuff.
I'll tell you this because we get copy to read and we use our personal experience combined with the copy. But right here it says, "Do you eat because you're bored?" I absolutely do that. Or you can't pass up food when it's free. Like legit. Like those are two things I do all the time. Yeah. Don't stress. Noom Weight can help you break the cycle and change your habits for good. Okay.
So stay focused with what's important to you with Noom Weight's psychology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com/tastebud, singular. That's NOOM.com/tastebud. Sign up for your trial today. And as I mentioned, check out Noom's first ever book, The Noom Mindset, possibly at an airport near you. And it's a deep dive into the psychology of behavior change, available to buy now wherever.
People that walk down the center aisle, if we're in a theater, they walk down the middle of the show, walk down the center aisle, walk right up to the stage in the theater and just start talking to us.
Yeah, they're just.
What are you doing?
Yeah, it's just like
not even drunk.
Yeah,
sometimes.
It's bad shit.
Or they just go hand us like a bag or a card. I'm like, thank you for this, but like, so.
Good.
I will say, Italian audience members. I'm not trying. And listen, I'm not trying to be biased. My mother's 100% Greek. I'm 50% Greek. Italian audience members are some of the funniest because when it starts to get real, they're like, I was in Arizona and 4 dudes just like, and they were like, but you know, big beard, but fans, genuine fan. Virzi, we love you, right? But then they were doing shots. So like the last 20, they're like going over the bill, really loud, disruptive. And I did it a couple times, and 2 of them are like, sorry. Then the one guy goes, Virzi, what the fuck? I'm trying to, and it turned. And all of a sudden, what the fuck? No, fuck you. Like it started to be like that. And this table of Italian guys, Paulie, don't worry about it. We got you. So, don't worry about it. No matter what happens, we got you. And then now they start looking, and it's this whole thing. But it was so funny because it just went from a comedy show to Italian dudes being like, if this goes down, Italians, when Italians love you, last thing, and then I was like, so Stacy and I go to this Christmas party for her new job. Like, so her company got bought, and all this new company merged in, and she goes, they're all doing this big party. Long Island. Swear to God, right? So I'm driving out to the shore. And Joe, I'm driving out to the shore. I'm talking 2 hours for a Christmas party. Midweek, we got a babysitter. Stacy's like, oh, we're just going to go meet these people. So I get there. And the special was out, so a bunch of people, watched the special and stuff. So this Italian guy walks over, like Stacy goes, "Hey, Stacy, how you doing? I'm glad the company." I swear to God, I'm not making this up for the show. I swear to God, he said, he goes, how you doing? I'm glad things merged. You're great. And he just walks over. I swear to God, I never met the guy. I'm just
he brought up the merger.
Like I love working with you. He's doing all that stuff, right? And he just walks over and he goes, I swear to God, he's
it's the merger.
And I'm just trying to get out of here. I'm trying to get out. We're about to leave. And he goes, Paul Virzi. Goes, how you doing? He goes verbatim, how you doing? He goes, I know what you do. I know your work. I love your stuff. Yeah, you're great. Special is great. Listen to me. Can I ask you a question? He goes, anybody fuck with you at this party tonight? And was dead. And I go, what? He goes, anybody fuck with you tonight? Everybody treat you all right? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, why would you?
Right. Like, just looking, just to be like.
What? Like, first of all, of course not.
Right.
We're at a corporate. Right. But it was his
it's
way.
In the DNA.
No, but what I realized was it was his way of saying, I got you. Even though, because it doesn't need to go to violence.
Right.
Like, you don't have to, there's no reason for it. You just say, hey, man.
By the way, that guy manages a 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
It's like every Italian guy talks like, I'm connected. And you're like, what do you, then you find out he delivers sodas for Mountain Dew or whatever.
Because what would have happened if I said, what would have happened if I was like, some guy in the bathroom was an asshole.
Point him out.
Yeah.
Let's go get
Who was it?
That's what I mean. You're like,
what are you doing?
What are you going to do?
Yeah, I know the company you work for.
Yeah, that's so
I
fucking
had a
funny.
woman walk up with a card right in the middle of the show, dead middle. I'm in the middle of a joke. She goes, hey, I go, so I take the card. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm in the middle of a show. Jeez. Like, you can't walk up in the middle of 1,000 people, And she's like, whatever. And she's talking. I'm like, you have to go back to your seat. So then she handed me a card. So I looked at the whole audience. I'm like, should I open this card and read it right now? And they go nuts, right? So I open the card, and she goes back to her seat, and I go to read it. And the first thing is, Sal, it's something very similar to this. Like, I say, open up. I think I'm going to have a good, Sal, you are like an angel sent from heaven. And then the whole place just goes, oh, and I'm like, oh, you fucked me. And like, we're all laughing. I'm like, all right. And then I put the card away. I was like, that's very sweet, but you don't do that. There was a letter inside the card.
Oh, boy.
That I read when I got home that was extremely serious and tragic inside.
Oh, cancer?
Of the experience she had. No. I don't want to say.
Okay.
Well, no one. It was serious stuff. I'll tell you. And she must have shit herself because I said I'm gonna read the card.
Oh my
it was like
God.
Some really crazy shit in there.
Oh,
and
dude.
she must have been like, "Oh my God, he's gonna read the fucking card." When I got home, I realized she probably thought that, and it was like really sad
my
inside.
God.
And I'm like, I don't know. Now what do I do? Like this woman calls me an angel. She tells me, but she's still getting up in the middle of a show.
I put the revolver in my mouth, but then episode 10 came on.
Yeah. No, lady, and she was very, very nice. She was very nice. I'm not trashing you because I know you watch this podcast. But a lady came on Saturday, and she came up at the meet and greet, and she gave me a doll of Rosie O'Donnell. And she goes, "Can you bring this to Q?" And I go,
"Oh yeah, that's."
And she goes, but first she goes, "That look familiar?" And I go, "No." And she goes, "Come on." And I go, I know it's a Rosie O'Donnell. I don't understand. She goes, "It's from the episode da 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 da." And I go, "Of Impractical Jokers?" She goes, "Yeah." I go, "I don't watch the show."
and I'm not
it's
on
so
it.
funny.
Yeah.
Like it's 300 episodes that you wouldn't even know what she's talking about.
And then she got kind of like, she's like, "What do you mean you don't watch it?" And I was like, "I have watched it." I was like, "I don't know every bit. I don't know what this is." She's like, "It's Q." And I was like, "That's nice. He's a friend of mine." And she goes, "I want you to bring this to him." And I go, "No." I go, "I'm not doing that." And she goes, "My friend went to high school with Joe Gatto." And I go, "Lady, I don't give a shit." Right? And
you're a one degree removed.
Separate.
yeah,
Yes.
and I go 1 degree, like 6 degrees even. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I go, "Lady, I don't give a shit." And she goes, "Oh," and I go, "Listen, I'm fucking with you a little bit here.
Yeah.
That's nice, but I go, I can't bring this." And again, she was very nice, but she was very kind of like, come on. And Caitlin Reese, who was opening for me, she just goes, the lady goes,
I like Caitlin.
Caitlin's great.
Yeah.
And the lady goes, "I paid $45 to see you. And that included this meet and greet." And Caitlin goes, "Yeah, well, the meet and greet doesn't come with a UPS delivery."
Oh.
And the lady was kind of like, "Okay."
Nice.
And put it back. And I was like, after the fact, I was like, "Thank you for like,
Yeah.
you kind of got my back there." Because it was like, because I said to her, I go, "Caitlin, was I a dick?" And she was like, "No."
No.
It's nuts. Like,
It's almost disrespectful to you in a way, and it's not a malicious purpose thing, but like they do. Like I had Pete Davidson on my podcast, and these like some of his fans were like, "Why is like Paul talking to?" And it was like, it's my show, and but in their mind, they just want to hear what Pete has to say.
Yeah.
But they'll come up or like they'll be like, "Hey, do you know him? Can you tell one like some one girl wrote like, listen, I think if like he really needs someone in his life, I could be there. I think there's things that I know I could do." And I'm going like, are you out of your fucking
it's
mind?
a thing I don't like, and it's happened to me. It started when I used to do a bunch of stuff with Burr all the time.
Right.
And you've probably been through this with Burr too, where people will be like, "Hey, Bill, do you think you could get Bill to," you know what I mean?
Oh,
Or
like
whatever.
like I haven't.
And you're like, "Dude, I don't know. I guess I could pay, whatever."
Yeah.
So like now, and it's funny though with this show, like this is the best. I do not say this to bust your balls in any way, but when it first started, it was certainly it was certainly way more like people being like, "So Sal," like
they had to find.
Yeah.
They had to,
right.
yeah.
But now 90% of the people that come up to me at my shows are like, "Bro, I got to tell you, I fucking think you're right all the time." You know what I mean? Yeah, and I'm
happen.
like,
you thought everybody was gonna always be sandbagging you.
Yeah, and
I'm like, no, just.
And what it really excites me is the Taste Buds fans coming up and being like, "Bro, I love how fucking dark the act is." And I'm like, thank God, because I was terrified you people would be mad that I wasn't talking about donuts and shit up here. And they're like, "No, dude, we like it." And I'm like, so that's been a really rewarding like shift. But But yeah, like people are like,
Yeah, like I haven't opened for Bill now in about 5.5 years, and so much of that has stopped. Like we'll do football picks together and stuff, and we'll do like podcasts here and there because he's on the West Coast, I'm on the East Coast. But compared to when I was working with him a lot and opening for him, it was like what Joe said. Somebody be like, hey, do you think you could do this, or would he do this, or like what do you do? And I'm like, dude, I'm not talk to the agency, you know. And now that I don't, like now it's just like, hey man, I saw your special. I understand why Burr liked you. Yeah. I like your stuff, and like, because you have to do that. You can't not
and
do that.
And it's one thing
Dude,
too.
I give this to Q.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. I'm not knocking the very nice lady that brought the doll in. And also too, I'm also not knocking when like people will send stuff to the bar and say like, this is for you and Sal. Sure. That's different. That's not what I mean. But there are people that if they know somebody else will be like, do you think you could X, Y, and Z for me? And you're kind of like, well, and sometimes you're like, dude, I'm not even resentful of what you're asking. It's just not appropriate. And the length of time it would take for me to try to explain that is going to make this conversation so awkward right now.
Sometimes
that
it's
like
so
it's
the ask is even insane. Like people are like, dude, I DM'd you. Like I don't know the person, right? But like, dude, I DM'd you. Listen, I need to talk to Gatto. I'm like, wait, what is going on here? I was supposed to catch that message and now put you in touch with him? This is insane. Well, you know what I get a lot? I get, where are the other guys? I'm like, they're back at home in our bunk beds.
They have a life.
Yeah, like you're the three Stooges. You sleep with those log caps on.
I'm my own human.
Where are we at on time, Pimp? All right, why don't we do this as a two-parter? Why don't we just stop it and do an episode of Comedy Stories, and then let's do Battle in the next one. And we had a 3-episode day, baby.
Oh well, I don't know if you have somewhere to go.
No, I'm good. What
you double it up?
Yeah. What time is it?
It's 5:44.
Yeah. Can I plug my shit?
Oh, 100%.
Wait, when does this come out?
Yeah.
Okay, and then the next one is going to be after that.
Yeah, right after it. 13th.
The week 5. Well,
okay.
In theory, this one will definitely come out on the 6th. There's a slight chance the second one you're in might get pushed back if we end up recording. Right?
Okay, no worries.
Because we do that.
But either way,
we don't have to. But just sometimes we do it that way. But probably not. Like probably not. That's all.
Yeah, but I'm not. Yeah. So this is not going to hit. I'm at Gotham on the 2nd and 3rd. So this is going to be. So I'll be. All right. So I'll just do. I'll plug Pittsburgh then.
Yeah, baby. Of course.
All right. Yeah. So check me out. I'll be at the Pittsburgh Improv Valentine's Day. So bring your dates. It's a Tuesday night, doing a one-nighter, and it's almost filled up. It's almost sold out, so get tickets to that. And I have a bunch of dates coming up. I'm going to be in Tampa. I'm going to be at the Vulcan in Austin. I'm going to be in Rhode Island. I'm going to be in Salt Lake City, Denver. Just got Charlotte and Raleigh added. Go to paulvirzi.com for all that stuff. Check out the special on Netflix, Nocturnal Admissions, too.
All right, we're turning this episode into a two-parter, okay?
Yeah.
So we're going to battle.
55 minutes or something?
Yeah, we're at 55 minutes. So that was a lot of fun, and then we'll take the battle into the next episode. The next episode will be Indian food versus Chinese food.
Yeah. I'm excited. And by the way, and I'm going to say it now to tease it for next week, I want to do a salty with Virzi. And also, another tease with the next week's episode, it's the first time we've ever done this. Sal is going to moderate the battle.
I think I might have done it once, but
okay, with me versus the guest.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be playing. I'm just gonna be moderating.
What's salty?
I'll tell. You'll see.
Okay. So we have two chants that we do.
What?
It involves my ball sack.
We have two chants. We have two chants that we do. At first, he thought that we were arguing too much and maybe taking the hate home with us. And so he came in one day and he said, before we start, let's look at each other in the eyes and say, no matter what happens, I love you. No matter what happens, I love you. No matter what happens, I love you. Okay. And then we used to do that chant to go into, and then it did work where we wouldn't get as vicious with each other.
Yeah. Okay.
But before that, we would say, is it before that?
No.
Oh, after
Salty came after because that chant got us too loving with each other.
We weren't arguing enough.
So I started a chant called "It's time to get salty. It's time to get salty. It's time to get salty." And as soon as you stop saying it 3 times, you fire an insult right at the guy, and it works.
Before we start battling.
So I want to do a salty with you at our battles. I've known you long enough that I think it'd be fun to shoot a diss at each other.
Yeah.
And so there's no fucking nicety bullshit. Let's get a nice battle.
So we're gonna get
it.
Okay, fair enough. So just think of this as a nice supersized episode for you guys, and Indian food versus Chinese food will be next week.
Taste buds, they coming to the mic, talking about the food they hate, talking about the food they like. Two fools gonna fight, but only one food can be right. Taste buds, man, yeah, they coming to the mic. I'm talking.